Welcome to Between the Business Cards, a podcast that helps business professionals take their network and sales skills to the next level. And now, here are your hosts, Martina and Brandon Suba.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between the Business Cards. I'm Brandon Suba with Valley Construction.
And I'm Martina Niemeyer with Centersphere.
And this podcast is to help you with tips and tricks on networking, sales, and I think I've said it a million times on what these are all about. So if you're just joining us, stick around. And if you've been listening to us, thank you for all the support. You can catch us on the Centersphere YouTube page and Spotify and iHeart and maybe some other ones depending on when this airs.
Right.
So today we are going to talk about focusing on relationships, not transactions. I have a theory that I learned a long time ago, and especially in kind of these hard contact network groups like a Centersphere group, and not so much in the networking world, although we will talk about that a little bit. But I learned this theory a while ago, and I think it's really strong because it is hard to find the referral I need today sometimes, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
That's the transaction piece. But if you give me a relationship that can provide those referrals, then it's a lot off your table, and now I'm in front of somebody that actually is producing these referrals on a daily basis. If you're watching, you're going to see Martina's face. Her phone just rang. That's fine. We're going to leave this in there because this is how we do the podcast.
So, sorry about that. I will. Do you want me to correct that?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. All right. Keep talking about the concept that you're talking about.
Okay, well, then I'm just going to rock this. So the concept I learned about was golden egg versus the golden goose. So a golden egg is the transaction. If somebody in my group gives me a referral that they're ready to go, right? Let's say, what common industry should we use today? Plumbing was on the top of my head.
Yeah, that's an easy
Okay,
one to
cool.
use. Yeah.
So you have somebody and they're like, yep, my buddy's toilet backed up. He needs a plumber. I said your name. He called you. You went and did the business. Great. That is a transaction referral. We love those. They generally fall into our laps because people know us as kind of the Google or the phone book.
Sure.
And so they come to us first for a good referral. Awesome. Those don't happen all the time. That's not something you can consistently set goals with because, again, they generally just fall into your lap. So that's a golden egg. A golden goose is now the opportunity of somebody that is in front of, let's say, well, when I sold countertops, I needed a plumber to come and disconnect the plumbing at the beginning of the day and then come and reconnect the plumbing at the end of the day because we did a one-day installation. So if someone referred a plumber to me, I had consistent work for them as I was then the golden goose. It's weird to call myself a golden goose. But I was the golden goose because now the person that referred me to this plumber, they don't have to worry about anything.
Sure.
And I might be sending them business all the my I actually have a real-life example.
Okay.
I feel like I'm dominating the opening. Can I share?
You're totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a friend, and he needed some help on a job site that he was working on. I was not able to help him with what I was doing currently, and so I referred him to a restoration company. Well, come to find out, they are now doing business constantly.
Wow.
Constantly.
That's
To
awesome.
the point, they have both thanked me for that introduction. Now, I was just trying to help the situation.
Sure.
But it was one of those. I was able to, by accident, I guess, pass on a golden goose, and now they do stuff back and forth. So it's an awesome relationship to the point that they're, especially the construction guy, he is like bound and determined to find me a referral.
Oh,
and it's
that's exciting.
awesome. And we've had a few. They didn't work out, but just the opportunity's been awesome.
Well, I think that we've actually even referred to, and we don't know what order this particular episode will air into what you've listened to already, but we've referred to some of those things, you know, where we've referred to people who are that great connection and that, you know, we encourage you to sit down to one-to-ones with people not because you can necessarily use them directly, but because you might know somebody that falls into that golden goose category for them, or even the egg, right? But sometimes it's that golden goose category, and that's why it's so incredibly important to sit down and have those one-to-ones, have those conversations conversations and build those relationships so you continually get to know that person more and more. You learn what great referrals are for them. You know the kind of intricacies of their business a little bit better, simply because you've gone past a transaction and into a relationship. And right now, we don't have necessarily everybody is going to be able to refer somebody in their group. I mean, I have people I have conversations with, they're even hesitant to get into a group because they're like, well, I can't refer everybody in that group. That doesn't necessarily mean that as you build that relationship, you won't eventually get to that golden goose or that referral opportunity, simply because you've gotten to know them more, you know more about their business, and things will come across your path that you've either encountered before and didn't have a great referral for them, for that person that you've encountered, or they're brand new coming across your path and now you're listening and looking for it because that person's in relationship with you.
I think it's also a mindset to where when we join a group, we instantly think I have to have the transactional referral.
Sure.
Right? Like that's how I give to the group. And then, like you said, I can't refer to everyone in my group. I'm going to use the example. Let's use banker. I don't think we ever use banker. So let's say there's a banker in your group. You have a banker that you have known for 20 years. You golf with them. You talk to them. Like they truly are a relationship that you value, and they give you good service. That doesn't mean you have to work with the banker in your group, but get out of the mindset of I have no referrals for them, because what if that banker is looking to work with more nonprofits? Maybe the banker I'm friends with not concerned about that, right? Not a focus. So the banker in my group, if I can invite or introduce, well, I guess both, to nonprofits, well, then that's a whole new goose that I'm bringing to them that then could turn into a transaction. So it's the mindset people get. And I get it, because we're in a group and we want to refer each other and we want to use each other's business. But sometimes bringing in that golden goose is actually more valuable than just me coming over and being your client.
Well, and when we talk about the benefits of networking, sometimes people want to give you the dollar and cents, right? They want to give you those transactional numbers. They want to be like, well, I have grown my business by this number this year, right? Or my time in this chapter, or even this organization has proven to be profitable in this way, and here is a number that I'm associating with that. But one thing that I talk about when I talk about the benefits of membership is that there's so much with the relationship end of things that a lot of times it doesn't even calculate. It's not able to be calculated into numbers, because that's not really where the benefit is. And if you are providing that golden goose to somebody, or you're providing that referral source that is external to you, and you really aren't going to know all the business they're going to do with one another, you probably raised their profits significantly, but they can't necessarily even put a number or calculate your contribution to that, because who knows, there may have been another connection that came off of that and another connection that came off of it, just simply because of that one introduction that you made. So a lot of times there is just like a flow of things that are happening that benefits wise, sometimes you can attach numbers to, and they're a little bit more transactional in appearance, and other times they're so much more relational. And we really do ask you to focus more on the relationship, even because that's where you're going to see more of that return on your investment.
Yep. So you ever ask for a transaction during your 60-second presentation, and maybe you should be asking for a goose? Yeah. Because it is way easier for me to make an introduction to somebody when there's not a closed business on the line, if you will, versus if it's just a relationship piece, because it's just connecting the people in the room at that point. And to me, walls are down then, right? Like I'm so much more open to go meet with somebody if it's a introduction, we could work together in the future type thing, versus I want you to meet this person because they want to sell you a product or a service.
Sure.
People's walls go up, right? Because no one wants to get sold. I'm using quotes if you're watching YouTube. Sold to. But when it comes to the relationship piece, it's just so much easier to pass that introduction, and you might find a lot more opportunity come out of your group.
Absolutely. And so then that kind of brings us to the topic that sometimes people are a little bit concerned about having to move groups. Now, from one time or another, there's going to be something that could pop up in your schedule that is a reoccurring conflict with your meeting, and you need to leave that particular chapter and go to another chapter. Or maybe you even need to go into independent membership, the queue, for a little while you figure out what that next step looks like. The reason it's important to focus on relationships versus transactions is because if you've built the relationship correctly, it doesn't stop and go away when you leave the room. So yes, you've invested in these 20 people, right? Every single week for 6 months, a year, maybe even multiple years, right? And then there happens to be a meeting that always is conflicting and you're going to have to miss it a bunch and you need to switch for some reason to another chapter. If you've built those relationships, it will continue to follow you. The connections will continue to follow you even if you go somewhere else. You may not be as top of mind for those people because they're not seeing you every single week, but they still will have you tucked away because they have a relationship with you, and that's what you've taken the time to build inside that chapter versus just transactions. If I've done nothing but just transactional business with people, if I leave a group, I'll find somebody else to do a transaction with.
Yep.
Oftentimes.
Yep. Well, and if you're choosing to jump groups thinking the next one is going to be your best opportunity or you're going to find more, what it is you're just not educating them very well within the group. You're just telling them the transactionals, they're not running into them, so you're not getting anything out of it.
Right.
If you do the mixture of some gooses and some eggs, I love that I'm using this so much through this, but if you're giving them those different opportunities each week, they have a lot more that they can look for, a lot more opportunity that opens up, and then again, you're getting a lot more value from your seat.
Yeah. I think that education piece is a fantastic point. I also think that if you don't know what a goose is for you, you need to define it.
That's so true.
Because
so true.
We maybe have been talking about this and you're like, well, I don't even know what I'd ask for. Well, think about an industry that if you had a connection in that, it could produce, like Brandon's talked about in a couple of different examples there, it could produce just a continued relationship that they're calling you in for whatever service or product or anything like that. Define that for yourself. Take some time and figure out what that looks like. Some of the things that we talk about are really easily applied. Just boom, you just go to the next meeting and apply this. Some of it you need to sit with for a minute and say, what is this for me? Where does this stand with me? And do I know that? If somebody asked me directly, could I give them an answer? And if the answer is no, you maybe need to sit with that for a little bit and figure it out.
No, I was in a one-to-one. And I asked the person, I said, so what's a good referral for you? And I got the classic, you ready? Well, everybody can use my services. And I said, nope, I get that, especially in your industry. I go, but, and he had given me a pamphlet. And I go, no, but who are the people that introduce you to these people on a consistent basis? And the light bulb came on for me. It was like, oh, well, this, and this. And I was like, great. That's what I can work with because transactionally, I don't have much for you. I didn't use those words. What I told him was, for what you offer as a service, it's not a good fit for me right now. But if I can introduce you to the people that can bring you these people on a consistent basis, I bet I have 3 or 4 that I can introduce you to.
And that's when it starts to feel really supportive, too. One thing we hear about the network is that people are such advocates for one another and they truly do want to support one another. It's not because they're opening their checkbooks and financially supporting them most often. Most of the time it's because they're looking for those quality connections to make for them that can be supportive to the growth of their business, to the growth of the industry in general, whatever that happens to look like, and to meet those needs. So again, that falls back on relationships. It doesn't necessarily fall back on simply transactions.
I think
Yeah.
I think we nailed it.
I think we did too.
Nailed it.
So we hope that this is beneficial for you. We hope that you're able to apply those things, and we hope that you're a little bit reflective on it too, because not everything is just like, oh, I took that in and that was great. We want you to digest it a little bit.
Yep. And challenge yourself, because if you put 5 minutes of preparation into your meeting before the meeting, I bet that's 5 minutes more than a lot of people sitting in that room.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. That way, every Tuesday, you'll get the push notification that we got a new one to listen to. We have heard that people are using this within their groups, kind of as a education opportunity. And then, just a couple other people are listening to it. So, and then again, if you want to see how often Martina and I randomly match our outfits without any planning, check out the YouTube page, Centersphere YouTube page, and you get to see us on there even today.
Yes, it's uncanny how many times it's coordinated.
Uncanny. So with that, we look forward to talking to you on a future podcast.
Have a great day.